Hello everyone, welcome back to Tittok, the mess that is my mind. Just got in from a walk where I had to pick up an old lady off of the sidewalk. Not a regular occurrence, but also not an irregular occurrence in my life. It's the second time I've had to do it since moving to Toronto. Yeah, long story short, walking lion, I'm just, talking to this girl and, her cute little puppy, and we look to our side and this old lady has just collapsed out of nowhere and fallen. She seems to have hurt her wrist. She's like, oh, it's most definitely broken, but the emergency room is the last place I want to go. So she calls, we managed to, I physically am, hugging her around the ribs and, picking her up and using all of my leg strength to help her because she's just so disoriented and out of it. And, so she called her friend came to pick her up, and all was well, but yeah, it's crazy out there. People are, just collapsing apparently, and just, hopefully she didn't just get the vaccine earlier today. Who knows? And it reminded me of when I first moved to Toronto. I was a bank teller. It's a job, I say I wouldn't wish this job on my worst enemy, being a bank teller. Please be nice to service providers, especially those that work at a bank and have to deal with people face to face all the time. It sucks. And especially when it's just a really trying job. But nonetheless, for those first few months when I moved to Toronto, I got into a really good routine of walking line before bed and winding down before the night. And I was I would always get super stoned before my walk and stare off at the CN Tower, because when you first move here, and when you visit here, or really, it's still shiny, as I say. The shine has still not worn off on seeing the CN Tower and just the Toronto skyline. It's gorgeous. Some people would beg to differ, but again, it's still shiny to me, and it was ever so shiny the night that I was walking lion and was super stoned, and then this lady full on collapsed right in front of me. Again, it's, I don't know what it is with, me just, I get along famously with older ladies, but I don't need to see them collapsing on the street because it just freaks me out. Even earlier today when I saw that, just now when I saw that, I had to call my grandma and just check in and be like, okay, I'm about to record a podcast. I don't want to, talk for super long, but this just happened, and, I hope you're okay. Because if it happened to my grandma, God forbid, knock on wood here, knock, knock, knock. If, God forbid, it happened to my grandma, I would sure hope that somebody would stop to help her, and even just now, there was a man that came up to us and was like, oh, do you guys need any help? And we're like, no, we seem to have gotten under control. It's like, oh, are you COVID tested? He's just asking all these, in my opinion, really stupid questions. Sir, in all honesty, if this was your mom collapsing on the floor, would you question everybody if they were COVID tested to help pick her up off of the street? No. You would be like, come on, people, I need help. Let's... Anyway. And then the poor lady who claims to oh, my wrist is most definitely broken, but the emergency room is the last place she wants to go. This world is so ass backwards. But I'll try to refrain from going on a super big tangent about how everything is just madness. It's a mad world. It's totally nutso out there. There's tension. There's tension in the air out there. Where do you go to escape all of this, right? I'm so over Toronto. I'm so over paying this ridiculous amount of rent that I pay every single month to not even have a backyard, or like I said last week, I don't even have a balcony. I just have rooftop access, which is still awesome. I get to see the Toronto skyline that I just claim to love. But also, like I said, what am I holding out for? Because everyone's working from home. I'm paying way too much money to be in this home. I'd rather have a home that feels more like a home, that I have more space in, and that I have more, just I can make it more my own. When you rent, there's only so much you can do to personalize the place. I love my apartment. It is my home. But it's geographically, I'm really questioning where I should be and where I need to be, because I don't know if Toronto is really it for me anymore. She checked all the boxes a couple years ago, but now she's only checking a couple off, and there's, I think, other places that could suit me a little bit better. And maybe those places don't have old ladies collapsing on the street that that I need to that I need to pick up. Not that I have an issue with that. I mean, I like to think I'm really kind and caring and empathetic and compassionate, and I'm so great, whatever. But yeah, like, we need to be helping more people out. And I mean, I'm one to talk. Like, what have I done today, or this whole week? We need to help each other out a little bit more. Like I said, I've been attending some workshops for freelancers and entrepreneurs, and I connected with this really cool lady who we had a virtual coffee chat earlier this week, and it was I've never met with a business coach before. That's what she does. She's a freelance business coach. And so we had a session together where we explored my inner saboteur and the joker, as I kept calling it. It's sort of if you're unfamiliar with the inner saboteur, it's this voice in your head, your inner critic. Mine always laughs at me like, oh, you decided to do art all night? You decided to paint until 3 a.m.? You should have been doing all this other stuff. Oh, it's funny that you think, venting on the podcast, my inner saboteur really likes to, like, sort of like mock me. I mean, he means well, and that's something that Joanne, the business coach, helped me explore, is that the inner critic does mean well. Everyone has one. We can't just totally shut them out. But what would be more beneficial is by taking, like, what are they trying to teach you? The voice might be negative, predominantly negative, and you might hear, oh, Jennifer, like, what a waste of your time. Oh, Jennifer, you should be, how disorganized, and whatever the heck they might be saying. But if you can sort of take the teachings from what he has to say, like, like, wow, you're so capable of doing so much stuff, like, who knows, but just try and transform the verbiage that's going through your mind. And again, I'm one to talk. I have a lot of should statements. I should be doing this, or, the way that I speak naturally isn't the most positive towards myself, reinforcing and encouraging, and it's something I'm working on, being impeccable with my word. And anyway, exploring with the business coach, just this idea of my inner saboteur was really healing, because I feel like, although I am throwing myself at so much, I have to pull back and organize and prioritize in order to, keep walking the walk towards that goal. Because right now I do feel really overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, I gotta get a podcast out. I want to get some more clips out. Like, I want to gain some more traction. I want to, I spoke last week about how I'm trying this whole, like, bikini model influencer thing. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing over there. But, we got to get content for that page out. There's stuff on the go here. So it's easy to feel overwhelmed. I'd rather feel overwhelmed than lost. But the overwhelm can meet with organization and prioritizing, and maybe I can live my life with a little bit more ease, if you will. So yeah, I don't know if now that I've sort of wound down on the therapy, maybe I'm gonna go into, like, life coach, business coach. But I found that session to be way more conversational, ironically, as opposed to therapy. I find, and it might just be, the current therapist that I was seeing, but I found therapy to be really just self-guided. I was really having conversations with myself, which is amazing. They would ask the right questions. I would reflect inward. I would have a conversation with myself that somebody else just seemed to be, attending. So I think that, with the business coach, it was just more conversational. We did some we did a mini breathing exercise. She was able to send me over some resources to bounce off of. It was really constructive, and I found it to be really beneficial. So yeah, and especially to explore my my joker and inner saboteur, which I think we can all identify and maybe have a conversation with. They say, when you're meditating, heal, talk to your inner child, but I think now I'm going to be talking to my inner saboteur. Hello, I'm here to meditate and become one with you so we can work together and accomplish everything, and you can, because I love the sense of humor that my joker has. Really funny. But, and he means well, like I said, but we can tone down the negativity and separate the teachings and the learnings from him. Also, on the coffee chat that I had with her, she introduced me to my new favorite word, Malaise. And I've then taken that to the Malaise Haze. So I think that's what we're all feeling. She said, you and society alike are feeling this malaise that has come over all of us. And I was like, what is that word? I love it. And if it's French, that's why I love it. I love French beer, French vocabulary. You can find me in the south of France when the world has come to a little bit of a calmer place. Malaise is a general feeling of discomfort, illness, or uneasiness whose exact cause is difficult to identify. Wow. Snaps. I can relate to that. My goodness. Yes, guys, the Malaise Haze. That's what we're all smoking on. That's what we're all feeling is this Malaise Haze, this feeling of general uneasiness. That's just what it is. There's the answer. But no, it's true. We're all, some of us doing better than others, but we all have better days. I mean, the weather in Toronto the past few days has been really gloomy and rainy, which is a vibe. But also, it can be a little trying if you're just naturally feeling down and then you look outside and it's super gloomy. It's just, well, sheesh, I'm going to go back to bed then. You eat a good meal and you're like, hey, I guess it's bedtime. Or you can try and fill your time with podcasting, get an Instagram going. If content creation isn't your thing, read a book. I mean, we all know this inside of ourselves, but, even before I started recording today, I just wasted easily half an hour on TikTok. I need to follow suit with Nav, my good friend Nav, and just delete the app off of my phone. I love it so much. I do love TikTok because it shows you that so many other people are sharing the lived experiences that you're sharing. And if you're going through hard times, you can go on that app, and the algorithm and the little robots that listen to us on our phone will just curate all these videos that are so necessary for you to watch. And you just feel so connected on the app, which I think is really cool. I think a lot of social media fosters a lot of disconnection, but TikTok just brings, it just knows you. I've found my way to crazy corners of TikTok, like I'm sure we all have, but it's so perfect for us and our individual selves. But each little trip in TikTok land, you kind of lose a little bit of your individuality because you're like, oh shit, there's so many other people who do the same thing and, think the same way that I do. So a little, take that as you will. But I also want to pose a question. how are we all making money right now? Seriously, are we all, girls out there, mid-20s, living in a big city? What are we doing to make money? Because, are we all selling fee pics? Can you let me in on this secret? How are we all maintaining, because we've all got to like be on the latest trends and like keep a cute roof over our head and like eat all the avocado toast and the spirulina and like the face products and like my dog has the vet and the how are we doing this? Are we all, like I said, selling feet pics? Because like I have bunions. I don't really have like cute feet, you know? Like is there like a section, like a little bunion fetish section that I can like, you know, take the top charts at? Because yeah, I don't really want to do the OnlyFans thing, but I'll do like a weird like foot thing. Is that it's like kind of worlds colliding there. It's all the same, one and the same. I'm sure people have OnlyFans just for their feet. But yeah, how are we all making money? Do we all have like big, well-paying corporate jobs plus side hustles plus brand deals? Like what are we? Just genuinely curious. Recently, I've been trying to get back into meditating. I know how hard it is, but it really is so beneficial, especially if you, like me, suffer from anger issues. I think in general, I do have, you know, now that a lot of other childhood trauma and issues have like been dealt with, I think the main issue that has come forth is like this anger management, this general reactive temper that I have. So I try to meditate in order to, you know, reel that in addition to like a lot of other exercising. But something that I've been reminded of because of Russell Brand, I'm sure you've heard of him if you haven't. He's definitely an acquired taste, but he's been posting some meditation videos. He has a podcast. He does a lot of really cool stuff, so check him out. But something he's reintroduced into my life, which is work that I've done previously with a therapist, is tapping and just general energy work, where you actually are tapping different parts of your body. And for those of you listening via audio, I'm literally tapping parts of my body. But you're tapping to connect inward to different parts of your body, and it's so powerful. It's so cool. So look into tapping. There's so many different practices of meditation. There's not always just sitting there and breathing. I find depending on my mood, I love sitting still and breathing and just simply doing that and going inward. But then there's other times when I do need some movement incorporated. I find running to be extremely meditative. I find just even stretching, just like breathing and stretching, so yoga essentially is, you know, it helps me connect. But when I just want to sit there and really work through, you know, an issue or, you know, just really sit with something, I find tapping to be what I want to do. There's also the karate chop, the butterfly hug. These are all different forms of tapping that help you just simply go inward and reconnect with your energy. So I suggest that if you're having trouble sleeping, if you're feeling like, my emotions, I'm getting heightened, I'm about to go crazy and pop off, tap it out. Tap, 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 tap. It's like that. Tap, tap, tap in. Tap it out. Tap it out. Chop it out. Tap it out. Get it out. Get it out. Not sure if I've spoke about this on the podcast or not. If it's a repeat, fuck it. I want to talk about diet. A little controversial. I became a vegetarian at, I think, the age of 12 because I was like, I was just very mindful of, I want to not eat a cow or a chicken or a pig. I was very mindful of what animal I was eating. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I made the decision at 12 years old to become a vegetarian for the first time. It didn't last very long. I don't remember how long it lasted. I'm sure I wasn't even a true vegetarian. But I do remember how it all ended, and that was when my grandmother made my favorite meal at the time, roast beef, mashed potatoes, and then like a mix of carrots, broccoli, and peas. Ooh. chef's kiss. That was find me at a young age wanting nothing but that. So she made it for me. I couldn't say no. I had to eat it. She knew my weak spot and she infiltrated. She went in with the roast beef and she just cut that vegetarianism right off. And it was whatever. I still, even to this day, I still am aware of like, oh my gosh, it's if you're eating beef, it's a cow. If you're eating pork, it's a pig, so on and so forth. And that just hurts my heart because cows are, like, I want a pet cow. I want to, not that I have to domesticate it, but I just love, like, cows are just so pure. And mammals have mammals have feelings. They know what's going on. They're just like you and I. They have a conscience and they have emotions. And if I sound totally crazy to you, that's fine. Totally fine. And anyways, I was well aware of that at an early age. I went back to meat, explored, being a vegetarian, and then eventually going like full vegan for a couple months. And then I went back to like vegetarian, pescatarian, and then now I'm just eating whatever the F I want, whatever the fuck I want, and I feel really good. It's the best I've felt in a very long time. And this isn't my way of saying if you're vegan, stop being vegan. If you're doing this, do that, whatever. I'm just saying diet is going to fluctuate. Eat what you want. Listen to your body. It got to a point with me where I was just done restricting myself and being like, oh, I can't eat that. I don't want to, I don't want to eat that. even when in reality I did want to eat that. I did want to eat that burger. I did want to eat that, pulled pork sandwich, whatever it was, right? So maybe it's the pandemic that made me ultimately go back to eating meat. I don't know, but it's just sort of this general, life is short. I'm going to eat whatever the fuck I want, whether it be cheese or meat or whatever. You won't really find me going out of my way to drink cow's milk. That's something that I'm just not into. I still get really grossed out about cow's milk, even though cheese is just a big block of cow's milk. I don't know. In my brain, I can't do the cow's milk. So you will notice, if you watched last week's episode, I had horrible roots. And then, like I said, I was going to take it upon myself to touch them up. And I did that. It looks great. I feel fresh. I even gave myself a little bit of a trim because, yeah, you have to take shit into your own control and own power. And I did that. And she did that. She feels great. She touched up her hair. She gave herself a haircut. She's doing it all in lockdown. But she's also, I'm trying to remain optimistic. I am. She did that. She's feeling good. But one thing she hasn't done yet, and one thing she doesn't feel like doing anytime soon, at least today, she doesn't feel like starting anytime soon, is that little tolerance break we were talking about last week. Yeah. I just love cannabis too much. I really do. I really do. And, so much so that I even did a cannabis-infused tequila experiment that turned out quite well, which I will get into in a minute. But in regards to the tolerance break, yeah, that shit ain't for me right now. Maybe next week I'll, feel differently. Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? No, I'm done. Today is the day I start. Who knows? But right now in this current moment, I'm so in love with Mary Jane and she is not leaving this bloodstream anytime soon. That's just how I feel. So a little update on that in case you were all like holding out for like, this big mental clarity episode. It's coming. It's coming. I will do it. But not today. Just not today, okay? Not today. Putting it off. But one thing I don't want to put off is finding a product developer and getting cannabis-infused tequila out onto the shelves for the whole world to try. I'm sure I'm not the first one to come up with it. I know for a fact it's out there. But I had collected a bunch of stems and little bits and bops I didn't really know what to do with. I was doing a Google search, and yeah, you can bake with it, you can make a tea out of it. And then I came across a Reddit thread of people who had infused alcohol with stems and leftover bits and bops. I don't know what we're calling it. Little bits and bites. So I shoved all those bits and bites in an old alcohol bottle, poured tequila over top of it, sealed it airtight, let it sit for about a week, and then I made myself a lovely drink with my cannabis-infused tequila, and I have to say, it's delicious. It's the best cocktail I have ever made, and I have made a lot of really good cocktails. I don't have anybody here to, testify for that, but trust me, I make a mean cocktail, especially a Paloma. I'm a tequila sunrise Paloma. I'm a tequila girl. Don't try me with a good time. I know how to make a good cocktail. Okay, don't test me on a tequila cocktail. But it's got I don't know. The cannabis, just when it's infused in the tequila, it's just a lot more earthy and woodsy, and just, it tastes dank. It's just a dank tequila. It's a dank drink. And I can't wait to make more dank drinks, because I now have my new favorite way of consuming alcohol, and essentially, getting crunk, I suppose. Is that what happens? I don't know, but it's I'm sure there are some Canadian laws that won't be able to pass the I'm sure I can sell it on the black market maybe, or something, find some way to get this cannabis infused tequila out onto the black market, and get it into the cups of y'all, because I tell you, I'm not currently drinking it here, but I tell you, it's so good. A little grapefruit juice, a little ice, lime, lemon, and then an ounce of, THC smoky tequila goodness. Oh, it's so good. But no, overall, just wanted to get a couple things off of my chest this week. I've been feeling a little bit heavier just because the weather's been gloomy, like I mentioned. That's my big excuse, but I have been productive. I have been taking things into my power, which is all we really can do at this time. It's driving me a little bit crazy to read the headlines about what's going on in Toronto and in Canada in general. We are the laughingstock of the world currently, and, I don't necessarily want to stay silent anymore. I'm also not trying to be super outspoken and shove my beliefs in people's faces. But yeah, I just, it's kind of embarrassing how easy it is to brainwash an entire nation, and, going on that, I just want to say thank you for listening to this week's episode. Just like every other week, it's been me venting, getting some things off of my chest, which is so healthy to do. So if you listen to this and haven't already subscribed and given it a like or commented or interacted with me, any of the Tittok social media, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, we've got it all. We're out there. And I just want to connect in this time of great change. I hope everyone out there, whoever is listening, I hope you guys are all feeling connected to yourselves and optimistic. I know each day brings different challenges and different emotions, and not that you need to hear from me, but all of your emotions are valid, okay? Your feelings are valid. We don't need anybody telling us that we're not allowed to feel a certain way, and I'm just here to spread love and talk about my life and talk about what's on my mind. So if you enjoy it, if you found it to be entertaining. I would really appreciate it if you like the video, subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. Whatever, whatever you can do to interact with Tittok, I really appreciate it, guys. Peace and love. All the best. See you next week.